What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Tab Overload. We are doing a new Hot Tabs. This is the second Hot Tabs that we're doing. I will get back to episodes with friends and deeper conversations, but I'm just really enjoying these Hot Tabs. I've also been doing them in real time on TikTok. So if you don't follow me on TikTok, follow me right here. I'm going to put it right here for you to kind of see my opinions in real time when I find out the news. This week I'm going to dive into Bravo news and then a little bit of other pop culture at the end like I did last week, and that's probably going to be, the theme of these. I'm a Bravo-holic, so a lot of these are going to be Bravo news. So if you are also a Bravo-holic, you're in the right spot because, yeah. So I want to dive right in because I have a few things to talk about, and this is in no particular order. This is just how I wrote it down in my notes, and so I'm just going to go down the line. The first thing I do want to talk about is Mary Cosby's son was arrested. I saw this article last night. Her son Robert Cosby Jr. was arrested for assault and trespassing. He apparently broke in through the dog door of his father-in-law's home and assaulted a victim on the property. He also, he didn't assault a victim in the home. He assaulted someone on the front lawn is apparently what happened. Obviously, there is a lot more that goes into this that we don't know about. Last season on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Mary shared with the world about her son's issue with drug use. And so the last time we heard at the reunion, he was doing fine and he was getting better. So it's kind of sad to see this news, and I just have higher hopes that everything will be okay. And I am sending good vibes towards Mary and her family because I love Mary. I love that she's so raw and honest with the fans. I think that's what everyone wants in a housewife, and for her to be so vulnerable, I don't want the world to judge her. And these articles do come out about her son being arrested and people are quick to judge, but I think that it's really sad and we can't judge. There's obviously more to the story, and there's a history of mental health issues. So I really hope that everything just works out truly. And so I feel so sensitive on that topic because it's so dark that I just want to say good vibes their way, and seriously, I hope everything's okay. I don't even want to talk about it as if it's tea because it's very serious. It's very dark. So yeah. Moving into something more positive is the Real Housewives of Potomac had their season premiere first look, and it looks good. Potomac might have a come up, and here's my prediction. I think the Real Housewives of Atlanta isn't really doing that hot, but I think Potomac is going to have its second wave, especially now that Karen's out of jail, which I talked about last week. In the first look, I'm going to say it, Ashley Darby has clocked in. Ashley has been kind of just riding the wave these past 3 seasons, I want to say, and it's kind of been what is she doing on the show anymore? But it looks like she's coming to play, and she's coming after Stacey. She's kind of met a match that she can really take on. So I'm interested in this, and she's calling Stacey out, and I think that it's a huge shift in Ashley's energy than we've seen in the previous seasons recently. And the reason I say that is because she was going through a divorce, and I think that you can see that the divorce was heavily weighing on her and how she was showing up to film, because now that she is officially divorced, she can just do whatever she wants without having anything used against her in court. That she's being messy Ashley, she's clocking the tea, and it's messy, and I actually am here for it. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this is gonna go this season, because she's calling out lies, which I really appreciate. I know her, Giselle is gonna carry the season, but Giselle and Ashley are very good friends, so it'll be interesting to see them two team up against the other girls. I suspect that that's what's gonna happen, especially against Stacey. But the first look looks really good. I am gonna do Potomac recaps on my podcast, so make sure that you do subscribe and watch those if you're into Potomac. Moving down the line, Scheana Shay and Katie Maloney from Vanderpump Rules. Scheana came at Katie for whatever reason. It is just kind of giving weird. Katie really hasn't, ever said much about Scheana. And it seems like Scheana is always so quick to discuss the other former cast members of Vanderpump Rules to get attention. And this week it was Katie Maloney. And she essentially said Katie Maloney was forgettable. And I think that was the most insane thing she could have said. Katie is not forgettable. People love Katie. I love Katie. I think Katie has always kind of been right about everything. And then with Scheana, we always see that Scheana is a pick-me, and I have to sneeze. Scheana is like a pick-me and just like always flowing with the waves. She's so wishy-washy, and no one really likes that in a cast member. People like loyalty. People like for you to stand on 10 toes, and Scheana's never done that. And she's so desperate. It's been so clear. Now she's on the valley because she has climbed up the walls of desperation to get on the show, her and Lala. And so to stay relevant, she has to continuously bring up former cast members on her podcast, and it's kind of like annoying. Like, get new content. I feel like she did this book to get more attention and no one really cares. She came out that Brock cheated on her, and really, to me, that kind of just pissed me off because you were forcing Ariana so desperately to forgive Sandoval in the last season of Vanderpump Rules. Meanwhile, you had this story that you could have shared, and she just gives me fake. Like, I do not like her. And also, while I'm talking about Scheana, go to my TikTok and watch the recent video I posted about Mike Shea, Scheana's ex-husband. It is so tea. And it just is another reason of why I think I just don't like Scheana. Like, don't get me wrong. Scheana is iconic. Good as gold, iconic. Love her and like some of the iconic moments she's had on VPR. You know, it's all happening, like all that, like gag 'em. Like, Scheana, okay, you did eat, but like full on personality wise, Scheana rubs me the wrong way. And I could also do a deeper dive episode of the cast of Vanderpump Rules and why I do and don't like some of those cast members. And Scheana Shea's segment would probably be like 15 minutes because I just she just rubs me the wrong way. She's too desperate. I think when people are so desperate for fame, it just throws reality TV like off a little bit. But yeah, that's my take on that. I think that Katie clocked back and she kind of just like explained why she even went to Scheana's wedding, and the only reason she went is because the producers wouldn't film if Katie didn't go. And she also ate Scheana up and said she purposefully cut Scheana out of her life, yet Scheana keeps talking about her and she should like shut up. She didn't want Scheana's PR for her book because she doesn't want Scheana to know where she lives. Like, Katie does not want to be Scheana's friend. I think Scheana has always wanted to be Katie's friend so desperately, which I really never understood because Katie so clearly didn't like her. Like, same thing with Stassi. Like, and it's so clear why they don't like her too, which is the funny thing. But I think that deep down, Scheana is always going to want to seek validation from them because in her head, I think they'll always be like the cool girls. And I think that the audience is forever on Scheana and Katie's side. And Scheana will always want the validation from the audience because she craves the fame, she craves the attention, she craves the approval of the fans, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do think that you can only go so far to, like, the show's over, you know, you guys aren't friends anymore, let's wrap it up, stop talking about them, like, you guys have moved on, and like, it's okay to let it go. So that's my take on that. Other news, this is going to be quite a short episode. I feel like I'm flying through this, but in other news, Craig Conover launched a production company. I saw that earlier this week, and I feel like a lot of people haven't been talking about it because realistically, like, it's not that interesting. He hasn't released anything yet. It's just like a Deadline article sharing that he launched a production company. I also talked about this on my TikTok because the funniest thing to me about this article, which his team clearly wrote, is that the article references Craig as lawyer Conover. Since when is Craig referenced as a lawyer? That like blows my mind, because like if you watch Southern Charm, if you are a fan of Southern Charm, you know that he lied about taking the bar, about graduating, all these things, and like Shep and Whitney clocked his tea and called him out. And so it's interesting that he's being referred to as lawyer Conover. Like, okay, maybe you did eventually like take the bar or whatever, but like I just think it's funny because like you never really addressed it on the show. So as far as I'm concerned, and any viewer of Southern Charm, Craig's not a lawyer. And so when I see articles like that, it's just like, wait, what? But I mean, I'm sure he is now, but it's just funny because it's like we have this one view of like Southern Charm and how Craig is on Southern Charm, and now he's like playing lawyer. So it's kind of really funny. And another thing that I found interesting in this article, which by the way likely was made by his team, I'm pretty certain was written by his PR team, but it says, Conover said, after spending over a decade in front of the camera, it feels awesome to be stepping behind the scenes and getting involved from day one, helping shape the vision, build out the programming, and connect with the right people. Being part of something from the ground up like this is really exciting, and honestly, I couldn't ask for a better team to bring Plaid Horse Productions to life. Plaid Horse Productions? What the hell is that name? Like, honestly. Anyway, I think like, to me, I get kind of annoyed when reality stars try to like play producer, and this kind of just makes me realize like Craig really plays the game. And I think that was a huge deal with like when him and Paige were dating. Like I always felt like they were playing a game. They were trying to make sure their images were put together, and like he did the same thing with Naomi. Naomi was lying so much for him, and like then he had Paige lying for him, and I think Paige actually did really well at the game and like trained Craig essentially like of what to say, and kind of created a better monster. Honestly, like whether she wants to admit it or not, she created a monster. Or that's so mean. She enhanced the monster. So yeah, I think like it just kind of bothers me when reality stars are producing themselves, and this kind of only solidifies that Craig produces himself on like Southern Charm. It's also interesting because I know Whitney is a producer on Southern Charm, so I wonder what Whitney like thinks about Craig launching his own production company, because Whitney has never been like supportive of Craig in any way. So that's tea. Stay tuned, because as soon as I find out what Whitney thinks, I might DM Whitney myself and say, what do you think? I'm gonna share with you guys, because that's tea. They have always kind of like little brother Craig, and Craig's always really like hated that. So that, I'm sure, is going to be a storyline on Southern Charm, and I will be talking more about it on Tab Overload. Next on the list I want to talk about is the Real Housewives of New Jersey allegedly has started filming without Teresa. I do not believe this for a few reasons. I don't think Jersey's coming back. I know that like Bravo wants us to believe like, oh, it's just on hold and we're figuring it out, we're doing the casting and stuff, but I truly feel like it's on hold. One of my reasons for thinking that is because the Real Housewives of Rhode Island has already been confirmed, and like they are I'm pretty sure they started filming like pilots of that and stuff, and Dolores is on that, so that was all confirmed. 2, I don't think they know what to do with Jersey. Truly, I don't think that they want to scratch it and start over, because we saw how that failed with the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So I don't think that they want to do that. And then the third reason that I think that that's not true is because I saw an article, and I'm pulling it up now, on page 6. Teresa Giudice basically hinted that she's open to filming with Melissa and Joe, which hasn't been her reaction previously. The headline is Teresa Giudice cracks door open for reconciliation with Joe and Melissa Gorga, quote unquote, never say never. And essentially Teresa was on Jeff Lewis, and Jeff acts like, or said that they love to see like that one big happy family, you know, vibe again. And Teresa said, well, never say never. And then Gia also chimed in and said, I think the viewers would want to see that too. I think that there's nothing more to fight over just because it's been going on for so long. So obviously they're going to want to like see some sort of resolution, them being the fans. We want to see a resolution. And then Jeff asked whether, like, if there's a world where Teresa could coexist with Joe and Melissa, and she replied, never say never. And Gia elaborated saying, I think everyone can coexist, just put your big girl panties on and be mature. I think that they are going to play the game and say that they'll film together because they want the show to start and they want the money and they want the attention, because who wouldn't, you know? They've been on that show for what, over 15 years, and the show was essentially all about them, and now they don't have that anymore. They don't have cameras following them anymore, and I'm sure that they missed that. And it's literally their fault because they're fighting over stupid stuff. And in my opinion, like the whole Teresa and Melissa thing, I do think Melissa very much is in on her head too much, and I think Teresa has valid feelings about Melissa joining the show and the way Melissa treats her and the way Joe is put in a kind of odd spot, because it's like, do I defend my sister but I have to defend my wife? And I think Teresa's very entitled, like old Italian mindset is pretty toxic, but I think Melissa is in the wrong a lot too. I think they're both very much wrong, and they're too hard-headed to like make up and like move forward. I can't believe neither one of their parents are here and they still won't just like move forward and like make up, even though they're siblings and they claim like family. I do think that Teresa putting Louis in front of Joe was wrong, and I think Joe and Melissa was very much there for Teresa when she was single and divorcing Juicy Joe. And so it kind of seemed like they were put to the back burner when Louis was around, and she's like, I got a man now and I don't need you guys. I can see Joe and Melissa's point of view there. But that being said, I'm over the Teresa and Melissa fighting. I like when they are friends and like they aren't fighting. If they could come together and move forward, I'd be down for that. If not, I don't want to see it. And I think that they can tell that that's the vibe of like viewers' wishes at this point. So that being said, I don't think Jersey has started filming without Teresa. I don't think that they would, honestly. I think Teresa is such a huge face. Politically, I disagree with her, but she is a Bravo icon. I'll admit that. But I don't agree with half of New Jersey politically. So if you're going to watch The Real Housewives of New Jersey, that's kind of what you expect. So yeah, that's my Bravo news of the week. That went pretty quick, 18 minutes. We talked about it. Other news, Taylor Frankie Paul is the new bachelorette. I think this is like the first like celebrity bachelorette they're choosing. They usually choose someone from like, you know, the realm of bachelor world, and Taylor's the first person. I think she's the perfect candidate, honestly. She is so spicy. She is so good on TV. She is going to be driving these men crazy. And I am so excited to be sat for it. I love Taylor on the Mormon Wives. I think she's such good TV. I think she's a chaotic mess. When she calls herself white trash and is crying, it's so funny. Like, to see her dating a bunch of different guys is going to be so funny. I also think it's so funny that we're seeing a bachelorette with 3 kids. I think that'll be very interesting. I know that like Whitney and what's the other girl's name, the short one, Jen from the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives are Dancing with the Stars, and I think that fits them. I think that it's funny because when I saw this news, I was like, oh, they're gonna be jealous, and then my sister was like, no, they're on Dancing with the Stars. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. But I just think that it's so funny because to me, it just continues to solidify that Taylor is a main force and she can do things on her own versus the other cast members. They're more of like supporting cast members. And I think Taylor's like a force multiplier. She's the main character on the show. And so it makes sense for her to have the Bachelorette be centered all around her. So yeah, that's tea. And lastly, what I want to discuss is that Nina Dobrev and Shaun White broke off their engagement. They were together for 5 years. He proposed last November of 2024, I think. I don't think they shared why it was broken off, but I think that was really sad. And the first thing I thought about was like, oh, can like Damon and Elena get back together? But I know that like Ian, he might be married. Ian, what's his last name? Ian Salvatore. But actually, like, I was like, that was the first thing I thought of, like, is like, what does he think? But I think he's like married, and him and his wife are actually really cute. But I'm like, I'm gonna follow that and like stay updated on like what happened, what's the tea there. I love Nina Dobrev. I love her. I love the Vampire Diaries. I'm obsessed with that show. I actually made it like a TikTok recently talking about how like the Vampire Diaries and the Summer I Turned Pretty are essentially the same things. Like, it's so funny, like the same, you know, brother in love with the one girl and like that whole dynamic. But honestly, I need to rewatch the Vampire Diaries. It's just so good. I can always rewatch it. But yeah, I mean, that's all I got for a Hot Tabs this week. I mean, pretty lengthy. Good 20-minute chat with you guys. Like I said, follow me on TikTok because I post these thoughts in real time and I can like engage more with you. So follow me on TikTok to engage. Follow me on Instagram because I do post when I publish these episodes so that you can stay updated when I'm posting. And don't forget to follow on Spotify just in case you're too busy to sit down and watch me. You can always listen to me on Spotify. And I mentioned last week that I create a Substack account, and what I want to do with that is create a newsletter, a weekly newsletter where I share like things to watch, what to watch, scripted and unscripted television. And along with that, I think that's it of like everything that I want to promote. Like I said, I do want to like dive deeper into like other realms of like conversations on the pod, but right now I've like really been invested in like Bravo News Hot Tabs because that's where the traction is, and I have to follow the traction. So let me know what you do want to hear. Let me know what conversations you want me to talk about, talk through, and who you want me to have those conversations with. I am currently looking for guests, so if you have any ideas, if you want Oakley to be a guest, let me know because he is just like, he needs so much attention every time I turn the camera on, every time I put the mic on. Oakley, you want to talk? Here. He doesn't have much to say, but you do have something in your beard. All right, until next time, friends, meaning next week for Hot Tabs. I'll talk to you later. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I love the support that I get, and it does not go unnoticed. Like, seriously, it's not easy to start a podcast and just like get on here and talk and feel like no one's listening. So when I do get the engagement, when I do get the likes, when I do get the subscribes and the comments, I pay attention and I take notice, and I use that to like fuel me to create more. So thank you. Your support means the world to me. Actually, you're helping me like turn my dreams into reality. So until next time, adios.